extremely influential in their communities, whether they're delegates or community organizers or teachers. Their impact is beyond themselves. But you can't attack them individually. You don't attack their patriotism. You don't attack their integrity.
Yes, sir.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever the spirit moves you to hit that good old play button. This is your boy, DJ Gemini. And once again, I want to thank y'all for tuning in to the Mr. I Keep My Ears to the Street podcast. For y'all who don't know me, this is a podcast for us to gain knowledge, to each one teach one, or to teach two or three. If you have a differences of opinion of any interview or any content that I put out, send me a message and let me interview you to see what's your point of view. For a lot of y'all who don't know me, um, I want to say at the age of 35, I really got on being a community activist. I was already active within my community, but I started really attending city council meetings, seeing what was really going on around the city, things that we really need to know within our community. And during this time, I was also looking at videos from Philip Turner from the case Turner versus Driver. I was looking up Mr. David Warner, which is News Now Houston. I also was looking at a gentleman by the name of Men in Black. He's out of Philadelphia. About the three gentlemen that I just mentioned, they are First Amendment auditors. They really started showing me things that, even with me at one time having a federal police badge, I never looked at it from the civilian point of view. They help enlighten me to things that I need to be privy to. Um, During my walk, I happened to run into the my special guest today, and the one thing I like about his videos is that they're informative, but not only that, he has confidence when he speak the law. He's not going to speak something that he don't know, but he also will educate not just the interaction, he will educate his public with knowing what he's doing. He, as far as I know, he's one of four First Amendment auditors who are African American. Um, and this is something that's been going across the United States for years. But to see a minority gentleman doing it, it's ironic and it it warms my heart. Me, I can't see me doing the First Amendment audit because my temper is a little bit out there, and I could turn Holly Grove real quick. But I have to give this gentleman all the kudos in the world because he does something my temperament would not allow me to do, which I'm gonna start working on later on at the beginning of the year.
What are you doing?
Look at me like you look at your money, with love and respect. How you doing? Yeah, I can use a nice cold Coca-Cola. You got one for me? Don't turn that uniform into a clown uniform. Israel is a good man and you're making him look bad.
But with no further commentary, anything, I want to welcome to the show Big Nick from Florida, but he's Big Nick, South Florida Accountability is the name of his YouTube channel. One thing about this gentleman, with me and him talking, I also found out that he's a veteran like myself. He served in the Navy. I served in the Army, but we're still brothers under that service. And what I enjoy about him is that he does it from the heart. He doesn't do it to antagonize or anything like that. So with no further ado, Big Nick, where you at, baby?
Hey, man, I'm right here holding it down, listening to you, man. I appreciate that warm welcome, man. I really do. Thank you so much.
Man, can you please tell me now the reason why I had to let everybody know about Philip Turner, David Warner, and Men in Black is because those are also people you look up to with doing First Amendment audits. Oh, and I'm sorry, I forgot High Desert Community Watch out of California. I forgot that young man. I apologize, High Desert.
That is definitely one of my favorite guys, if not my favorite guy. Well, I tell you what, I discovered First Amendment audit because for some reason one day I was really pissed off at police. It was probably because of the Stephon Clark situation.
Okay.
And I wanted to just go on YouTube and just find people on YouTube who's cursing police out. You know, putting them in their place. You know, like I was looking for people that was running away from the cops and getting away, making them look stupid. You know, and searching for those types of videos. The first thing I ran across was this brother named Joe Citizen Ho.
Okay.
And needless to say, I wasn't learning a damn thing about the law. At least I thought I wasn't.
Right.
I wasn't learning nothing. But in retrospect, he was showing me that the First Amendment is the First Amendment. You know, so he was actually teaching me, but in the way he was doing it, because he was literally standing in the police face, cursing them out.
Okay.
And that's what's happening to this brother. So I started watching his videos. He only had, a few videos that I could watch. And, YouTube, they would also show you similar videos to what you're watching.
Right.
And I think that's when I came across News Now Houston.
Mr. David Warner, right.
The action wasn't there, but the knowledge. Because even though I was angry and I was looking for a way to vent my anger, I'm still what I consider myself an intellect.
Right.
And when I was listening to and watching these videos, I was like, this dude is interesting, man. I'm learning and I'm hooked and I'm mesmerized and I'm just always, my brain is going to overdrive because I'm gathering all of this content, this information. And I remember the first thing that I learned that it just I got it embroidered in my mind now, and that's I'm a journalist gathering content for a story.
Right.
If you notice on his videos, well, on his confrontational videos, those are his words.
Right.
He get those words directly from the Supreme Court itself.
Right. Now, for the listeners who really don't understand why we're harping on the First Amendment, as long as you're not belligerent with it, to be honest, you have the right to say whatever you want to say as long as you're not infringing on somebody else's rights. Now, it does also covers you under speech, the press, meaning anybody with a smartphone that's able to hit either the camera button or the auto record button. You are now considered to be press. You don't need to work for a news outlet or something in general to be considered press. You can be independent press even if you post it on Facebook Live, Instagram Live, Periscope, Twitter, it doesn't matter. YouTube, doesn't matter. You can literally be considered a member of the press. Now, if you're in your city, which me and Nick had talked about this offline, this interview is gonna wind up being 9 times out of 10 two different sections of an interview, because we're going to try to cover so much in so little time because of the YouTube rules. YouTube really want me to keep my show to 30 minutes or less, and y'all know me, I got to add the DJ of supporting the music to it. So by the time I do everything, it wind up being 30 minutes real quick. But and if I may, Nick, before we continue, I want to give a shout out to Joe Citizen. He's out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Baltimore.
Oh, I'm sorry, Baltimore. B more. So I think at this time, I think I think they locked him up on some bogus charges, because I did reach out to him, but he never replied, and the videos did stop coming up. So
Yeah.
I think right now he's incarcerated on a bogus charge because B Moore was not ready for a First Amendment auditor who really has the heart and the strength to do this. Is to be a First Amendment auditor. I always say it on Nick comments, but let me explain this to the people who don't know. It take a lot of heart, because at any time you could be arrested. At any time they can show up to your job like they do to a lot of First Amendment auditors. They you can get bogus phone calls from people that are in law enforcement or some way affiliated with law enforcement. Me and Nick, really, we love our trolls, because I don't care. I'm a VA veteran and I'm not worried about anything. But for a lot of First Amendment auditors, it's very hard because the police are actually start coming to their job to antagonize them to get them fired. And it happened. It happened. I know to at least 4 or 5 First Amendment auditors that I know of, but this is really a thing where a lot of people in different states are not really aware of the rights that they have. Now, during this video, what I will do, I will literally post what the First Amendment is, and you will be able to read it in a still shot while this interview is going on. So don't just...
Let me interject real quick. One thing while you're on that note, just
Okay.
to give a little bit more insight about. You said these people show up to your house, to your job. Certain auditors have gotten fired because of harassment or phone calls to the jobs and gotten fired. And 99% of the auditors have a channel name. that they literally go by the channel name that pretty much is not associated with their government name.
Right.
But what happens is a few of us have gotten arrested, and that information, your government name, becomes public record.
Right.
And once that becomes public record, me personally, I've had my entire government name, my date of birth, and my address posted on one of my videos.
Oh, wow.
No one on YouTube knows my government name. Now, I'm not saying that they can't just easily call down and do a public record request and get that information, but 9 times out of 10, it wasn't from a YouTuber.
Right.
That's all I can say about that.
So with this is why we're touching on this, because when I first started watching his videos, it's not just the way Nick comes across that really turned me on to what he had going on. It was more to where he was standing up because he was in his local community. But what happened was some officers I'm sorry, not officers, they was deputies. Some deputies had just jumped out the SUV and started harassing them at a corner store that really there was no service call. And don't get me wrong, I understand the difference between a service call and a non-service call. They just jumped out. In fact, one of the deputies had a mask over his head like we normally wear in Iraq to shield us from the sand blowing, but he literally had it to cover up his identity. And the funny thing about it, Nick had just left, I want to say an hour or two prior to that, he had just left that local station having a conversation with was that the lieutenant or the commander, Nick?
With the major, African American brother, he was a major, and I was so impressed by that. But not only I left the local station, that was the actual sheriff's office. The elected official, the sheriff himself, has an office in that building where I was just at before this encounter.
Now, this is why we say what we say when it comes to our rights, because a lot of you all wonder why I go so hard for us. A lot of y'all wonder why a lot of times I do not involve the community with what I have going on personal. Is because I don't want no one to catch a ricochet of the round that people are trying to aim at me. They've been trying to shut me down for a while. I've been not trying to get Mama Peaches hit involved in this, who is my #1 sponsor. Nobody I'm affiliated with, not even the biker organizations that I'm affiliated with. I'm not trying to get nobody involved in this, because this is all about our rights. This is not about anything else other than the rights that you are giving under the Bill of Rights. So understand that. I want y'all to know I'm only making sure everyone is entitled to their full rights under the Bill of Rights.
Walk it like I talk it, walk it, walk it like I talk it, walk it, walk it like I talk it, walk it like I talk it, woo, walk it like I talk it, walk it like I talk it, ay, walk it like I talk it, walk it like I talk it, yeah. Take my shoes and walk a mile, something that you can't do.
Using this stuff under fair use, and also remember to like and subscribe this channel.